Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Christine Pitawanich. A former Portland firefighter has been sentenced for kidnapping someone and locking them in a storage container, all over stolen marijuana. Our John Adams was in court today for that sentencing. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon. Douglas Borland was found guilty by a jury this year, and today found out how much time he will be spending behind bars after being found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree kidnapping.
And you will be sentenced to 90 months with the Department of Corrections, followed by 3 years of post-prison supervision.
48-year-old Douglas Borland will spend the next 8 years behind bars for kidnapping 22-year-old Colby Fleischman. In August of 2021, Borland and 2 associates forced Fleischman into a black Range Rover outside of Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in downtown Portland. The men believe Fleischman had stolen tens of thousands of dollars worth of marijuana from a dispensary that Borland owned. The men drove Fleischman to a cannabis farm in Estacada and locked him inside a storage container. An Uber driver witnessed the abduction and notified police. Officers were able to track down Borland and arrest him. Borland was put on administrative leave from Portland Fire and Rescue after the incident and was terminated today after the sentencing. The judge allowed him to say goodbye to his family in the courtroom before being taken into custody. Borland will also serve 3 years of probation after he is released from prison. Christine?
John, thank you for that report. Big news from the East Coast today. A 4.8 magnitude earthquake hit New Jersey this morning. It's one of the largest quakes the state has seen in recent years. People in Maryland, New York, Delaware, and Pennsylvania also reported feeling tremors. This is video from the UN headquarters in New York City during the quake. So far, there have been no reports of major damage or injuries. State leaders in New York and New Jersey, though, are continuing to monitor for aftershocks. Back in our area, we now know what led up to a shooting at a Salem park around 3 a.m. Thursday, which left 1 man dead and another injured. Salem police say they believe it started when 2 homeless men began arguing over property at Wallace Marine Park. 29-year-old Charlie Allen Hodges was shot and killed. A 25-year-old man was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No arrests have been made. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler is proposing a new ordinance to crack down on homeless camping. You may remember just last year, city commissioners approved a daytime camping ban, but the court system has kept that ban from taking effect. KGW's Alma McCarty explains what's different about this new proposal.
Thursday, Mayor Ted Wheeler introduced his latest effort to crack down on homeless camping in Portland.
The public wants us to create a humane approach that connects people to services, but they also want us, and they have a right to expect, that we will maintain public safety in the public right-of-way. And this set of tools allows us to do that.
Those tools spelled out in a newly proposed ordinance, one that would replace last year's daytime camping ban, which remains on hold, tied up in the courts.
We're very confident that this particular ordinance that we're bringing forward on the 18th will survive legal scrutiny.
The new proposal defines camping and where it's prohibited, blocking sidewalks, ADA ramps, and businesses. And it puts law enforcement back in the picture with possible fines and jail time.
For people who say, hey, you've offered me shelter, but I'm not going to take it, or I'm just going to dig in right here and I'm not going to abide by reasonable manner restrictions, we then also have those law enforcement tools to enforce the law if we need to.
When compared with last year's controversial ban, which prohibited camping on city property between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and round the clock in many other locations, Lauren Armony with Sisters of the Road views it this way.
I think we traded something that was very harsh and slightly more precise for something that's more vague, which means perhaps it could be viewed as softer, but that means it could also be open to being weaponized. And it can be like in the eyes of whoever the individual officer is.
The enforcement of the ordinance is contingent upon having shelter space open and available. But that raises concerns about what's considered a reasonable alternative shelter.
We know firsthand that there might be only 2 beds open at a shelter at any given time, and everyone in an encampment is given the same offer for those 2 beds. If you don't accept that offer because you know at least 5 other people are going to try for that bed, is it actually a reasonable offer? And how can you say someone is involuntarily homeless when the shelter itself will not meet their needs?
So 2 additional points to add to Alma's reporting there. The ordinance would make it against the law for homeless campers to go onto private property, start fires, or build up garbage and other debris. Also, City Council plans to consider the proposal for the first time in about 2 weeks. This morning, a new affordable housing complex officially opened in Southeast Portland. What you're looking at right now is video that was shot during construction of the Canopy Apartments last year on Southeast Powell Boulevard near 122nd Avenue. The building has 169 units and features a courtyard with a playground, a dog washing area, and a donation pantry for residents to share food. An appeals court recently ruled that Oregon Governor Tina Kotek's climate action plan for Oregon is invalid. During an interview with KGW environmental reporter Cale Williams, the governor said her top environmental priority is making sure the state can meet its climate reduction goals. But she says that became more challenging with the court's ruling, which nixed a state program designed to put a cap on emissions from Oregon's largest polluters.
And it's certainly not ideal when there's been a lot of work to put in to develop those rules for the climate protection program that the court said, hey, you didn't quite do it right, so they're restarting. But the substance wasn't challenged in that court ruling. So we want to make sure that everyone's at the table being transparent about the rulemaking, but continue to move forward because it is a key piece to make sure we can reduce our reliance on fossil fuels.
Cale also spoke to the governor about housing, electric vehicles, and how the state funds transportation. You can find his full interview at kgw.com. Rod, we are so close to the weekend. What are we looking at weather-wise?
Yeah, well, this cool weather pattern that we have been in since Wednesday anyway is set to continue through the weekend. That means at least the chance of showers at any given moment continues in the forecast, and temperatures will also be running quite a bit below normal. Here we are at noon. There's not a lot of total precipitation. We have some snow and rain depending on elevation out across the Idaho border. We've got some rain showers mainly right near the coast. We've had very little inland. There are some traces of rain up around Longview, Kelso right now, but we also have a good bit of sunshine mixing in. Cannon Beach Live right now, absolutely beautiful. It is foggy and cloudy with flurries occasionally up at Timberline. Temperature 24 degrees. The passes, by the way, are generally in pretty good shape now after being partially snow covered this morning. Here's the Oregon Veterans Home camera out in the Dalles, 52 degrees. Partly to mostly sunny skies there. And we have a partly cloudy afternoon starting anyway, with a temperature cool at 46 out over the reserve. Portland's temps at 49, which actually equals the high yesterday. And with sun breaks continuing at times this afternoon, we will at least get up into the mid-50s. A shower chance, but not looking for much total rain, so lots of dry time. Highest temp today, probably 57 degrees. Rain will be picking up during the day tomorrow. We'll have that complete weekend forecast for you straight ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Rod. We've got an update this afternoon on the door plug blowout over Portland. Boeing has paid Alaska Airlines $160 million. After the door plug blew out back in January, the FAA grounded the Boeing 737 MAX 9 fleet so airlines could inspect the planes. Boeing's payment is meant to cover Alaska's financial losses during that time. But Alaska Airlines says it expects more compensation. Boeing has not commented. During that flight over Portland, federal investigators said the bolts meant to hold the door plug in place appeared to be missing. The grand opening of the new main terminal at the Portland airport has been pushed back to August. It was originally set to open next month. The Port of Portland announced this update after what was described as several close calls on the job site back in February. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but project managers opted to slow down the work with a focus on finishing safely versus quickly.